support the education and enable you to become your best self when it comes to these topics. Before we start, I'd love to know in the chat who you are, why you're here, and how we can support you, how we can help you, and what you'd like to get away from today. Whilst you share that information in the chat, so what is your name? Why are you here? What is your question? What is it around neurodiversity, around personality that we can help you with? What is it that you don't understand? What has brought you to this session today? And how can we support you in becoming better? For those who don't know, my name is Sonia Barlow. I'm the founder of LMF Network. Thank you so much for being here. I graduated in 2015 and fell into the world of tech. And since then, I have understood all sides of inclusion, from building the LMF community to working with corporates to being in the corporate world myself. I also have acknowledged and understood that neurodiversity and the variety of personality and types is not something that we are educated on or that we understand. And so it makes it very difficult for us when we're having difficult conversations or trying to lead ourselves into the future, progression, promotion, career. At the beginning of 2020, I decided to launch my own diversity and business consultancy, and since then have designed and delivered over 200 workshops to a number of clients and partners, as you can see. But this isn't about that. This is about neurodiversity. It's about personalities. It's about owning who we are and educating ourselves and empowering those around us. In today's topic, we are going to be covering the LMF diversity research, which we conducted, and Sana, who is on the call, led. We are going to be discovering what neurodiversity really means and what different aspects of neurodiversity we should consider, including the different neurodivergent and factors that are available. And then lastly, but most importantly, it's about how can we manage these difficult conversations? How can we ensure that everything is the way it needs to be? Thank you for the comments that are coming through. Looking to the best manager I can, to all my colleagues. I found the company I work for doesn't have a framework or support neurodivergent colleagues, trying to educate myself. That's amazing. That's why we're here. That's why we're here to help. And it's what we can do together and what we will be doing together. That's what matters. Anyone else, please let me know. Please send in all the information and what we can do. I apologize if I'm being a little bit slow. We've had a couple of people just message saying they can't get onto the workshop. So I just want to make sure that we have been able to share the invites to everyone and support them in coming on. Whilst I wait, I encourage you to start your introductions, to share yourselves via the chat function. And as I mentioned, I shall be supporting the conversation the most healthiest way, where possible. I'm just resending people's registration links because some people haven't been able to get on. Or Sana, if you could please do that, that would be amazing. And then we could take it from there. Cool. So I'll let the team deal with that. Amazing. So we've got Naomi in the call here to learn about this new topic. Crazy. Before we begin, we always begin with an overview of diversity and inclusion. There is a famous Werner Myers quote, which is all about associating diversity and inclusion with a party. And so that's what we are going to be talking about today. Diversity inclusion is a party waiting to happen. I've adapted it slightly. Diversity is being invited to the party without having to chase the invite. Equity is being able to dance or attend the dance without any access or barriers. Inclusion is having the music to dance to and not being judged for your dance moves. And why is that important? Because it helps create this sense of belonging. That's what we're all aiming for, to belong, to be, to become. Let me know a time where you felt like you didn't belong, like your power was taken away from you. What did that feel like? What about somebody getting your name wrong? What about having to dress differently, do your hair differently, pretend? Now, the thing is that many of us who might be neurodivergent, who may have different personality types, have to live through that daily. Diversity inclusion is therefore about celebrating yourself and others around you. Inclusive teams equal representative teams equal successful businesses. Every business, the bottom line comes down to money. Comes down to how do you create profits, maintain profits, and move forward. How can we be the best that we can? We conducted some primary research for the LMF community on diversity inclusion. And so before we begin, we're going to take you through this, and then we're going to get on to the real Q&A, the real workshop. Less than 50% understood how diversity impacts their everyday life. That's what our research found. Less than 50%. %48% had somewhat knowledge around diversity and inclusion. 48%. %78% believe that D&I tick initiatives are just to tick a box. Is that what you believe? What do you think? Let me know. I'm looking at the comments on LinkedIn. I'm looking at the comments on Zoom. 40% of participants absolutely understand how neurodiversity impacts their lives. These are primary stats from the LMF research around diversity inclusion, yes. You will be getting the links to reports after the workshop. And those who are LinkedIn or on Twitter can find them on our LinkedIn page or now also on our website. Less than 31% now equity affects their everyday life. 95% believe that there are biases in hiring and recruitment. And 100% have been asked odd questions. Some of the questions include, how much alcohol can you drink in a sales position in Eastern Europe? How old are you? When do you plan on settling down? When are you going to have kids? When are you going to have kids? Who needs to ask that question? Why is it important? So why is diversity inclusion fundamental? It's fundamental so that you can feel like you belong, so that you are the person that you want to be, so that you can be productive, happy, and progressive at work. I'd love to know, for those who are joining us, why is diversity inclusion fundamental? When it comes to neurodiversity, not everybody knows that they're neurodivergent. Coming from a South Asian community, unfortunately, a lot of the factors or specific attributes of someone with, for example, ADHD was taken out of context. And most of the time I was told it's in my head, or it's growing pains, or I'm not acting like a woman. I'm not acting like a girl. And so it was put under the rug. If we had basic education and training around these topics, these factors, these attributes, it would have made such a significant difference to those who are joining us, to those who are around us, to the ones that really want to learn and become. For me, this is a basic human rights issue. It's allowing people to be themselves and giving them the workspace, the workplace, the support they need. In one of my job roles, if you don't already know me, for context, I'm ambitious, I'm confident, I speak with my hands, I'm very lively. In one of my job roles, my manager said, Sonia, leave your moods at home if you want to progress in this workplace. What does that mean? I wasn't in the right frame of mind after that to thrive. My moods made who I was. The company didn't try to support me, to try to change me. But they wanted to change me, sorry. At the same time, many of these companies, these same companies, I've said, hey, I've got mental health issues. I have chronic migraines. I can't be the person you want me to be. And yet, most of the time, the response was, well, you look okay and we don't believe you. For those who are on the call, just to learn how to be more empathetic, listen, understand. When your colleagues, your friends, your family, your network tell you something is wrong, that they feel different, that they are different, believe them. And curiously ask them how they can get better, how you can help them feel better, how you can educate yourself. So here's a scenario. You'd receive an email with spelling mistakes. What do you think or do? Let's be really honest. Let me know in the chat. What do you think or do? Spelling mistakes. The first thing, do you do, oh, this person can't spell? Do you think that they aren't educated? If you're on the Zoom call, you can send me a private message, and so I won't have to share your name, by no means. And if you're on the LinkedIn, feel free to comment, and I'm watching that as we go along. We've got some great comments. Someone says, it seems that the sender wasn't considerate. It was full of typos. It seems unprofessional. That's a great answer and a very honest answer. What about the others who are joining us? What do you think? Do you think, oh, there's spelling mistakes, it's inconsiderate, you don't know what you're doing, you haven't taken effort, you don't want to be here? Someone says, I usually forgive them and ignore and forgive them for the errors. And that's a great way of thinking about it too. But again, if we think about what we're saying and what we're doing, are we forgiving them thinking that they have done it wrong or it's a mistake? Or are we thinking, hey, there could be something deeper? Is there something deeper? Someone says you would question the professionalism initially, but we do need to be more open as someone may have a disability or dyslexia. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Someone else says, I've definitely been guilty in the past of being judgmental. In instance, working with people taught me that something like spelling mistakes has no reflection on a person. Absolutely not. I have colleagues who make mistakes because English is their second language. I don't have second language, so I'm in awe of their abilities. Thank you so much for sharing and being brave. Thank you for being honest. That is the truth. The reality is, a spelling mistake should not be something that we should hold against them. Someone says, I would give them the chance. Someone else says, on LinkedIn, depends. Is the content otherwise quality? You don't want to judge a person under stress. Absolutely not. But what about if it's an inability? What about if it's a disability? What if they feel pressured? What if they're just giving it a go? Someone else says, speak to the person and ask them, offer adjustments and support, additional admin time to complete work tasks. Yes. If they are dyslexic of any kind, if they are new into the workplace, if they are young professionals, if they are in a place of discomfort, if they've done it from their phone, maybe it's just a mistake. But more times than not, especially in recruitment and in practice, what we see is that if your CV has a spelling mistake, if the email has a spelling mistake, you are incompetent, you are unprofessional, you cannot go forward. We don't consider that the difficulties may be there, that someone has tried their best. Whereas when you're in school, when you're in education, you get extra time. So my question is, what is your privilege? What is your privilege? The fact that you can spell? The fact that you can speak English as a first language? The fact that you have a family? During COVID, that you have a desk? I'd love to know in the chat, in the comments, what is your privilege? Someone says, I'm in a position to support others, and that's such a beautiful privilege. But it is a privilege, right? It's an area that we really need to understand and loop into. Some aspects of privilege include gender, race, ethnicity, religion, sexuality, language, education. What is missing? Disability is missing. Inability. If we have never educated ourselves on what these topics mean, on what neurodiversity is, on what personalities exist, how can we get better? Another person has said strong community. I love that. That is a privilege, absolutely. It's something to be very mindful of and to take into consideration.